Today we are looking at the Bard subclasses. I'm going to try and rank them based on the differences between the subclasses. The ranking is comparative between them, relative between the subclasses and not other classes. Interestingly, in one sense, there aren't many different levels where bards get different things. So we're going to be looking at level 3, where we choose the subclass, level 6, where we get a different subclass feature, and those are actually the only real differences. I will also be looking at multi-classing, and I think like most of my other previous videos, you can probably guess which order these are going to be going in. So I'm going to be looking at the Valor subclass first. And honestly, it's so sad that we've got the Valor subclass compared to the other two subclasses we're given because it really lacks. The level 3 feature gave it a 3 out of 10. Maybe that's too generous, I'm not too sure really. Level 6 feature 4 out of 10 and the multi-class potential just a 1 out of 10. So why is the Valor subclass so low in my own casual opinion? Let's look at the level 3 feature. We get proficiency with all martial weapons, medium armor and shields. And then we get combat inspiration where the ally can add a 1d6, though the bardic inspiration die does go up with level, but that's the same for all subclasses. So we can let an ally have a bonus to the weapon damage or armor class. And again, this is just compared to mostly the swords bard. So we can add like 1d6, 1d8, 1d10, and that just isn't that much. Maybe at the early levels, it's kind of okay. But since it's just for a single attack, not for a whole turn, it doesn't give that much value. We're going to find later that the swords bard does also get proficiency with armor, medium armor, of one particular weapon, not shields. But this really isn't enough to save the Valor bard. And then at level 6, we get extra attack, which is kind of nice. It's the same as the swords bard, but I'm going to be giving the swords bard a much higher number because it actually synergizes very well with the level 3 ability, whereas here, if we're attacking, we're not casting a spell. Now, perhaps if you have a round where you don't feel like you want to spend a spell slot, your extra attack might be alright. Can't deny that. But we can't use the inspiration on ourselves. That's the thing with, well, actually not all bards. That's something different about the swords bard, you see. So I can either attack twice or cast Glyph of Warding. I'm probably going to cast Glyph of Warding. There will be situations where I do want to attack twice instead. But we do have cantrips, we do have multiclassing, and when it comes to the multiclassing potential, the Valor bard is so low because we have the swords bard available. What's a saying I've seen written online a few times recently? Comparison is a thief of joy. If you're coming at this game from a perspective of wanting to create the most like powerful character that can do the most damage and stuff, unfortunately it's true here. We've got a Valor bard or swords bard. You should go swords bard 100% of the time. If you've got a nice background for your character for a Valor bard and you enjoy role-playing as one, of course you go for one. But when we've got the swords bard around, it's just so sad that we've got the Valor bard because it's just the forgotten child. So overall, this is, yeah, an abysmal score from me, like an 8 out of 30. But yeah, when we get to swords bard, you'll see why. In second place, I don't think this is any big surprise. We've got a lore bard, much higher numbers here. I do like a lore bard. So 7 out of 10 for level 3. 9 out of 10 for level 6, and multiclassing potential is 7 out of 10. So faring much more strongly and has a completely different role to the Valor bard. So let's have a look at the lore bard here. So we get a few different things. One, we get proficiency in 3 more skills of our choice. This lets your character become, skill monkey, proficient in more skills, and you can choose. There's no limitation, no restriction here. So perhaps you don't have anyone who's good at perception. You can at least have your lore bard now proficient. All bards get expertise in 2 skills at level 3, so you could actually just get someone to have expertise in a skill they weren't even proficient in to begin with, and they actually become really good at it. And as we level up, this will go up and up and up, and by the time you're at the higher levels, you'll have a +8. So that's one nice feature, lets you customize your character, and I really do like the idea of customization. I love the flexibility and choices we get. I'm just going to pick some random ones there. But what else do we get? We get cutting words. Now, it doesn't say what cutting words does here, but it lets you use your reaction, which is nice because then you can do something with your reaction that isn't just an opportunity attack. And it reduces the enemy's attack roll or saving throw or skill check actually by your bardic dice. The nice thing about this is you don't have to use it every single time, and the game will ask you if you want to use it, if it will make a difference. I'd suggest using it when an enemy is making a saving throw, but you have to be careful because let's say you're at level 10 and your bardic dice is now 1d10. If an enemy passes a saving throw and they're like 8 above the target number, so let's say the DC is 15 and the enemy rolled a 23, and then you roll your 1d10, there's only a 20% chance it's going to work. So you should not have it on automatic. You should make sure it asks you, and you choose when you think or when you accept the risk that cutting words might not work. That'd be down to everyone's personal preference. I quite like having a 70% chance and above of things working. That's my own threshold. And then at level 6, I absolutely love this. We get magical secrets. Unfortunately, in Baldur's Gate 3, we do not have the same freedom as you have in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, but Magical Secrets lets you learn a limited number of other spells that wouldn't normally be in your spell list. All bards get this at level 10, which is great, I love having it, but lore bards get an extra couple of choices at level 6. So maybe, I mean, it's really up to you, and lots of these spells are great. Cool Lightning's alright, Counterspell is nice, Fireball's always a good standard thing to have, Haste, Hunger of Hadar, Lightning Bolt's okay because it's lightning damage. Maybe you don't have a Cleric and you want to have Revivify on hand. Perhaps you want to use it for that. And perhaps you want Spirit Guardians on your Bard instead. And by the way, all of these spells will use Charisma as a spellcasting ability, so you don't need to worry that, ooh, Spirit Guardians is a Cleric spell, so maybe it will use Wisdom. Nope, it will use Charisma. And you can even pick up some cantrips. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a good choice to pick up Sacred Flame, but maybe you just want to have your Bard that can cast Sacred Flame. And again, with customization, Lore Bards really let you do that. And so when it comes to multiclassing, if you get your Lore Bard to level 6, you can create quite a unique character with a unique choice of spells. I put a build out based on the Lore Bard that got to level 6 that picked up Warden of Vitality, normally only available to Paladins at very high levels. And then you can multiclass it with a Thief to get an extra bonus action, so you can use this twice in one turn, just as one example. Lore Bards are kind of the bards that lean into more of the spell casting, because they don't get proficiency in any armor or weapons that they don't already have. And so that leaves us with the top bard, in my opinion, and probably most people's opinion, and maybe I've gone over the top here, being the Swords Bard. Just give it 10 out of 10 for all three of them. I probably won't do this for many subclasses, but it's so kind of, I'll say stupidly, but it's just so much better than the Valor Bard in particular. It's got a different role to a Lore Bard, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's, you know, better. But if I'm ever making a character, a bard, I'm only, in my head, really, I've only got Lore Bard or Swords Bard going through my head. So what makes this so great? So at level 3, we get proficiency in scimitars only. That's, I think, that's fitting the theme of a Swords Bard. Some sort of Scald or something. Fine, whatever. Don't care about the scimitars, actually. We get proficiency in medium armor. Not shields, but medium armor. But medium armor is all you really need. We get a fighting style, which none of the other bards get. But it is limited to dueling or two-weapon fighting. Really importantly, we can now use our bardic inspiration to do extra damage, lots of extra damage. Some of you might recognize the helmet I've got on this Swords Bard. And part of the reason the Swords Bard is so good is 2 reasons that aren't actually present in Dungeons & Dragons. At level 6, we get the same subclass feature as a Valor Bard, but I've given this a 10 out of 10. And that's because of the Slashing Flourish, in particular ranged. It synergizes so well. Okay, so 2 things really make the Swords Bard overpowered. One is this Helmet of Arcane Acuity. You find it in Act 2. So whenever you deal damage with a weapon attack, you gain Arcane Acuity for 2 turns. Well, what does this do? Affected entity has a +1 bonus to its spell attack rolls and spellclass difficulty for each turn remaining. So if you've got 10 turns of Arcane Acuity, your spell save DC goes up by 10 and your spell attack rolls go up by 10. The duration does get reduced by 2 each time the entity takes damage, but that's not really much of a problem. So this links up too well with Slashing Flourish, which lets you attack twice. And importantly, you can attack the same person twice. So I've got Sharpshooter. Maybe I just want to turn that off at the beginning here. So I've got a decent enough chance to hit. So let's just try and hit this character.
You were witnessed assaulting someone.
So when we start the combat, we'll see she's already got 4 turns of Arcane Acuity. Her spell save DC was not good to begin with. I didn't give her any items that increase it. But what's my Valor Bard going to do? Go and attack twice, which has used a single attack action for Tabu Fentan. She can do it again. She can have up to 8 turns of Arcane Acuity in a single round. So I've still got 1 single attack left, but I can still use Slashing Flourish ranged twice. That by itself didn't do a huge amount of damage, but what I've also given her is the Band of Mystic Scoundrel, which comes from the jungle in Act 3. After hitting a creature with a weapon attack, which you will be doing as a Swords Bard, you can cast illusion or enchantment spells as a bonus action, so I've stacked her up with a load of these. And so now, with a spell save DC of 23, with the potential to go 3 higher, without any bonuses to spell save DC from items, Hold Person is 100%. Mine is very powerful. Perhaps I want, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4 enemies, a level 4 spell slot. You will all... Can't remember if the Still Watchers will respond to this or not. Yeah, they're immune to it, fine. you will all grovel. These enemies will do nothing on their turn now. Now, because of this item combo in other videos, I haven't really focused on items too much, but this is such a strong build, and you'll see it online all the time if you go trying to find them, that I feel like I have to include it. Oh, right, here we are. So the fist is trying to attack Lae'zel. They need a 16 to hit, they rolled 19, so if I use cutting words, the cutting words roll has to be 4 or higher, because if it goes down to 16, it still counts as a hit. I'll try it, I'll ignore shield just to show the effect. This time it didn't work, because the cutting words here was only a -2. It wasn't high enough. This is the bit about risk. Now, in terms of multiclassing for the Swords Bard, personally, I've used a level 10 Swords Bard, level 2 fighter, so I can get action surge. So on the first turn, I should have had this going already. On the first turn, I can get 4 shots out, and if you've got sharpshooter with a good bow, you're dealing loads of damage. You can get damage riders on top of it. Another common build is 10 Swords Bard. 1 fighter, 1 wizard. So wizard gives you access to different spells. The level 1 in fighter gives you access to, well, if you take fighter first especially, proficiency in all weapons and all armor, and a fighting style as well. You can link up a Swords Bard with a paladin, and it's just very, very powerful indeed. So I've been taking some damage, which means my arcane acuity stacks have gone down. Let's try and build it back up while trying to kill someone. Right, let's have 1 against you, 1 against you, 1 on 1. Alright, this time they've all hit. Arcane acuity is up at 10. Let's try hold monster. Why not? Let's try level 6. And the hell, there's nothing they could do against that. I might lose concentration, you know, that might happen. Fine, it's a risk I'm willing to take. But anyway, the Swords Bard is just so good. One of the strongest classes, subclasses in the game if we're talking about just raw power. Of course, power isn't everything. This is a role-playing game. You create a role to play. But some people just love the power aspect of these games. So whatever you find most enjoyable, go for it. Let me know your thoughts on the different subclasses of Bards. Which is your favourite subclass? How would you improve the Valor Bard to make it more tempting to take? Thank you to all the members of my channel and for making it this far, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.